Ready or Not is a 2019 American comedy horror film directed by Radio Silence, starring Samara Weaving, Adam Brody, Mark O'Brien, Andy McDowell, and more.
At midnight, you have to play a game.
Why?
It's just something we do when someone new joins the family.
A game. What game? Hide and seek? Are we really gonna play that?
Well, the rules are simple. You can hide anywhere. We then try to find you.
So there's no way for me to win, right?
And stay hidden till dawn.
No, thank you.
Good luck.
Fuck your fucking family!
You're just another sacrifice.
Do you think this is a fucking game?
Yes, hide and seek. Remember?
He wanted to get married.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Welcome back to the Cult of Films. I will never miss a chance to talk about an occult film on the Cult of Films. That's right, we are talking about the comedy thriller Ready or Not, and I feel like this is a cult classic in the making because it is just so much fun. It's balls to the wall with fantastic performances and a great cast of not only actors, but a cast of filmmakers made up of Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, Tyler Gillette, and Chad Villella. They are a trio of filmmakers that are responsible for other horror movies and other genre movies like Devil's Due, Southbound, and the upcoming Scream 5. And Matt Bettinelli-Olpin was known early in his career for being the guitarist for pop-punk outfit Link 80. He moved on from kind of being a musician to directing other, punk band videos like Alkaline Trio and others. Chad, Matt, and Rob, which is like the early iteration of Radio Silence, and they would make these like found footage horror movies, like choose your own adventure horror movies, like kind of interactive adventures on YouTube. They formed Radio Silence, which is the current iteration of this filmmaking trio, and now they're making larger budget horror films, and all the way up to the new upcoming Scream. So this film, in Ready or Not, it had a $6 million budget. It went on to make $57 million, which I usually don't talk about films that are this successful, but like I said, I think that this is such a unique film, or I think it's going to age pretty well down the road, as well as being well received when it came out. And, 2019, we think back to 2019 now, and initially, myself included, and like my co-host Jason Alt on Film Hooligans, we kind of wrote off the year because in cinema, because it was a little top heavy, even though there was like Star Wars and Avengers Endgame. For the most part, it was kind of like a three-headed monster with like Hidden Gems, Parasite, and The Lighthouse. There were some other good movies, but for the most part, it was not one of the stronger years at the box office. We trade our right leg for any kind of box office experience these days in the garbage trash fire that is the year 2020, or would we? I mean, we have been getting some pretty good films at home that we could watch on like Amazon Prime and streaming and renting and all that. So who knows what we're gonna see? But this was one of the films that came out last year. And, even though it made pretty good amount of money, I feel like it wasn't really talked about so much afterwards. And that might have been because of the cast. Samara Weaving has done some good stuff, like The Babysitter, Guns Akimbo, and the newest one, Bill and Ted Face the Music, where she plays Thea Preston, S. Esquire. I don't know if she's S. Esquire. I haven't seen the new Bill and Ted yet, but she is actually fantastic in this. She really shines. She's another one of those fantastic blonde Aussie actresses. I don't know. It just must be in the water or something similar to Margot Robbie, but I feel like she really takes this role as the bride and like owns it. If I was explaining this film to someone that has never seen it and I want someone to see it in a non-spoiler way, I would say that Ready or Not is about this young couple, Grace and Alex. They are getting married and they are traveling back to the Les Damas. I guess it's like the dumbass. I don't know. Les Damas household estate, and his family are these like board game moguls. They are like just super rich, and they have made their fortune on playing games and designing games, which is pretty cool. But as you would think, it's kind of like an eccentric family. Like it's almost like Willy Wonka-esque. They, are hosting their wedding because, it's a beautiful grounds. They have this giant mansion and this like wonderful, setting where they actually do their vows. And, we get introduced to this crazy cast of character. You have Alex's brother, played by Adam Brody, who's kind of this like jaded, broken down alcoholic. In the beginning, it kind of establishes that Alex has become estranged from the rest of the family because he just seems to be a little bit more level-headed, a little less eccentric, like he just kind of want to makes it out on his own. The rest of the family, especially the mom and dad, Tony and Becky, played by Henry Sursney and Andy McDowell, they're happy that he is getting married, of course, but they're also even more excited that they're bringing their son back into the family fold, so to speak. There's a giant rule in the family that if you get married, and if you're bringing a new person into the Le Damas family fortune, then not only do you have to get married at the estate, but you have to play a game. And so that is kind of the crux and the catalyst of the entire movie, and all the shenanigans spawns from that. We get introduced to kind of like the ancillary characters, also like a younger sister to the brothers who has this like giant coke problem. She has a couple of young sons. Her husband, Fitch Bradley, who's played by Christian Brunn, who's a comedian. I guess the entire time he was just like ad-libbing most of his lines. He definitely is like the comedic relief. Charity, who is Daniel's wife, who's this like complete opposite, where Daniel is kind of this like drunken mess. You could say that Charity is this like ice water vein sniper, extremely protective of this family because I guess her origins were similar. Grace came from foster families growing up, so it's very important that she feels this belonging and this approval from the Le Damases, though Alex is like giving her outs even up until like vow time, where he's just like, you could run away, like it's not too late, like please, my family's just like nuts, giving her all these exit routes off the crazy freeway, but she doesn't take it. She's all in and she goes for it. Helen Le Damas, played by Nikki Goodgarni, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. She's the one that walks around with a giant woodsman's axe. She's great. She's like your stereotypical crazy aunt in the corner. Anything that can go wrong, like she's kind of pushing that narrative right out the gate. It shows that there is definitely something wrong going down at the Le Damas house. So after a long exposition as to the backstory of why they do this and why this family has such a fortune, they sit down and they put a random card in this box, and then they let the person that's joining the family, in this case being Grace, pull it out and see what game they get to play. And the different in-laws, the brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws, kind of say, oh, I did chess, or I did like I forget what he says, like Chutes and Ladders or something very benign. Grace pulls out hide and seek, and of course she's like, oh, this seems silly, like, okay, so are we actually gonna play hide and seek? And you could tell that the entire air gets sucked out of the room. It turns into a escape thriller where not only does Grace have to hide, but if she gets found, she gets murdered because of the family tradition, because of reasons. So as far as story and plot goes, that's how I would tell someone that hasn't seen this, that's kind of what the general census is about without giving out too much away. And at the end of the video, I'll talk more plot points and more spoiler moments that I feel that are worth talking about. First off, let's just talk about the film in general. It's very funny. There's like one point where Grace is hiding and she's like at a crossroads and she doesn't know which door to take, and then she like comes out of a door and then like right away she's just like right in front of like 4 people that are looking at her. They're like, oh, I guess she's right there. So Andy McDowell did a lot of the improv. Samara Weaving goes off on this crazed rant later on, and I guess that was all improv as well. And that was just literally for her being like, it was 4 a.m. and I was just like pissed off because it was so cold. And so I just like started spewing out profanities, and they thought it was pretty funny, so they left it in. So you could tell that the people that were making the film and acting in the film had a great time. There's beautiful chemistry from all of the actors, from the family standpoint of them trying to hunt her down and just her interactions with Alex and the others. It makes for a very entertaining ride. It has some thrills in it. There is some tension. The star of the show, figuratively and actually, Samara Weaving, if she doesn't come off with the range of emotion she has to go through, because she has to go be this like cool, like happy, excited bride at the beginning, to running from her life, just the tension ratcheted up. And like she even said, she's like, it was really important for me to not just do your typical damsel in distress. And she did not do that at all. Like at first, when everything's kind of revealed and shit hits the fan, of course she's super scared and terrified, and she pulls that off. You know, she nails that tone really well, and then just get pissed, and then it's just like, no, she's not going to be the victim of her own story. She's going to take this night by the shotgun and fire back, and that's what makes it so much fun. Because even as the death toll kind of rises and red shirts start dropping and the bodies start piling up, even they're just like, holy shit, like, why are we losing? Like, why is she like picking people off? How is she doing this? And I just like the fact that they gave her character enough agency and enough like empowerment to kind of fight back in smart and believable ways, because she still gets put through the fucking meat grinder. Like she goes through some shit, definitely, and some of it's almost cartoonish. Just how far they go with some of the gore and some of the things that she even experiences, but it makes it for a more fun and believable ride where she's just like, no, I'm not the victim. I'm gonna, put the pedal to the metal and take control of my own life and my own survival, and that works really well. The other standout performances are probably Adam Brody. Adam Brody, I feel like has played this before. Kind of actually this performance reminds me of Matthew Lillard in like 13 Ghosts, where he's like reluctant spectator. He's just like, oh shit, I know what's going on. I don't want to be involved in any of this, but I also know that it's very important that I participate, at least tertiary. Like he's not like a super active participant, even to the chagrin of the rest of the family, especially his own wife. Actually, in addition to this family, like she's just like all in and cold blooded, and he's just like, I'm just not about this, like, but he still recognizes the fact that it's all necessary. The coked out sister, played by Melanie Scarfano, Emile, she is freaking hilarious. Like, that is where a lot of the laughs come from. She's just like twitchy, cokehead mom that's just like constantly just like shooting at everything. There's a butler also, played by John Ralston Stevens. He is probably my least favorite character in this. He's constantly like singing opera music and stuff. You try to make him super menacing. He's like Alfred on crack, but a lot of the times he just comes off as kind of like butler cliche, which is kind of a bummer because he's featured a lot, even though he's not, the stakes aren't as high for him or his character personally. He's just completely all in with all the crazy mayhem, but it wasn't a deal breaker. This movie is extremely stylized. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of gore, almost like edges to the line of being cartoonish, played for like gags, even though it's like absolutely horrific. 80% of this film is shot at night, and they don't even like ramp up the lights inside. Like everything, it almost feels like candlelit. They use like a heavy filter while shooting this film. Other films would come off as kind of like showy and over stylized, but I think that it lends to the kind of like gothic horror feeling and tone, kind of otherworldly, unnatural aesthetic, which really makes the plot pop, from the dialogue all the way to how they shot the film. There's no shaky cam. You see most of the gore, or what they do want to hide, they kind of do it off camera. Like there's a scene where someone's like beating someone to death with a wooden box. They kind of do like a close shot of the person doing the smashing, and then you get to see kind of the aftermath of what that looks like. So they just shoot it and cut it in a way where they don't have to go crazy with the effects, because when they do go for it, and when towards the end, when we do see a lot of these effects, I wouldn't say it landed 100%. It almost reminds me of like Blade level blood effects from back in the day, which is a little bit jarring seeing it from a 2019 movie. But you know, with a budget like this, I could see why for the rest of the film they kind of toned it down. But by the end of it, it's just so off the rails and so nuts that it just goes completely balls to the wall. They go for it, which I appreciate them doing, but some of the effects kind of don't land as much as it probably should. I'm gonna say heavy spoilers for the rest of the review because there's some certain plot points that I want to talk about that worked and didn't work. So it's revealed that the Demas family, one of the ancestors, has made a deal with this man named LaBelle, which I guess is like a mashed up way of saying Belial, which is another way of saying Satan. So they're all Satan worshipers. So basically what they have to do is play this game, and if they get hide and seek, that means they have to make a human sacrifice of the bride or groom, I would guess, because I guess they, at the beginning of the film when that man was running around, that actually was the husband to the crazy aunt. And, you know, she was kind of like a willing spectator as well. Like, she was upset that they had to murder him because he wouldn't even play the hide and seek game. So they wound up just killing him and sacrificing him to LaBelle. So, you know, now that Grace has pulled the card and she's willing to play, you know, this is like the crazy aunt's do-over, because if they don't find the bride or groom by dawn, then all of them die. Then the entire, you know, Demas family dies, and the father kind of tells the story of another Satan-worshipping family that, you know, they got all this fortune and fame because of this deal they made, and they didn't make the sacrifice in time, so they died in a supposed house fire, but really it was because of defaulting on this pact. Adds this layer of characterization and a little bit of a believability as far as motivations go for some of the character. Like Andie MacDowell, who plays the mom, she really likes Grace, and she's like really rooting for her, almost like she's rooting for her to take over as the matriarch eventually for the family, because, you know, you have the cokehead daughter who's probably not a good candidate, or you have like the Ice Queen, which I guess, you know, if they didn't find Grace, would probably be the heir apparent to the family as far as the matriarch role goes. But she really sees something in Grace, and so when she is literally, like Alex, is heartbroken when she pulls that hide and seek card, but she also is a very protective mother, and it's more important that she got Alex back into the family, back into the fold, because he kind of left because of all these horrible things that the family had to do, like sacrifice goats and do all these Satan worshipping rituals. You know, he wanted to get out of there. So the fact that he's back is more important than sacrificing his new bride that she actually likes quite a bit. So, you know, she is not reluctant at all. Like, she is just like 100%, you know, 1,000% in with killing her to preserve the rest of the pack, so to speak. It feels like they had so many maids. One dies by being crushed in like a dumbwaiter. Like, that's the slowest death ever. Like, she's just like, oh no, this is my hiding spot, race, and then just slowly gets crushed. And I was like, oh, okay. They just needed a body count before they started knocking off like the A-listers, I guess. Needed some, you know, deaths to kind of set the stage and show Grace that this is not a normal game of hide and seek, and that makes sense, really. Like the end, like I said before, it really goes off the rails, because there comes to a point where they start questioning, like, is something really gonna happen if they don't find Grace and sacrifice her to LaBelle before dawn? Because no one, you know, they said that they have this other family that they knew about, but it also was like a house fire. So yes, it was very coincidental, but maybe it was legitimately, you know, just an accident. So it makes the family question if something's really going to happen. But so, again, some of the character motivations really ring true. Like, even the cokehead sister's just like, yeah, okay, maybe it's not true, but I don't want to, you know, put my kids' lives on the line, because they make them even do like the ritual. So the whole family's all in. So if something's going to happen, it's going to happen to everyone, whether they're little children or the crazy axe-wielding aunt. So it's just better to be sure, like have an insurance policy, than just say fuck it and let's see what happens. The big reveal at the end, the big turn, is kind of, I don't know, that kind of fell a little flat to me. it was extremely telegraphed. So everyone's putting Alex on a pedestal, even though he's the one that wants nothing to do with the family. And, you know, the aunt's just like, he's going to be the most powerful one out of all of us. And the mom's just like, you know, no, you know, your place is with us. And, you know, throughout the night, as they start all kind of talking to him while they capture him, because he's like, he breaks out pretty early and tries to help Grace escape by like turning on, or like opening the doors and turning off all the cameras so no one could see where she is. His arc is basically listening to everyone be like, no, you are one of us, and not only is if this is all true, you're, you know, something bad's going to happen to you, but, you know, we're your family, and that should be where your loyalty lies, no matter, you know, you met this girl like a year ago. The big turn is after Grace murders Andie MacDowell with the box by smashing her face in. I think this is a little too much, and I doubt that you're gonna want to stay married to me. So he makes the turn. He kind of takes his place as main, you know, villain of the movie, and he kind of does a cop out and is just like, you know, I'm gonna go that route. So he goes for the sacrifice. It doesn't go right, and then the dawn comes and everyone's just like, you know, nothing happened, everything's fine. And that's where it just turns into full Looney Tunes, and everyone starts popping like, you know, fleas on a hot day, which is pretty funny, and it's played as a joke, and you're supposed to kind of laugh at the absurdity of it, because like everyone's popping, even the little children are like their scalps are like being blasted against the wall, and it's all shocking but played in a comedic way, but it just looks so crazy. All in all, is it the best movie? Would it have made my, you know, top 10 or top 5 of 2019 if I would have seen this last year? I wouldn't say so. I think it's definitely in the top 20. I mean, it's a really fun movie. It feels kind of like Knives Out a little bit, which just like, it's like Knives Out and Clue had this like, and then throw in like Satan worshiping, and you have this fun little mix of just like tomfoolery and assfuckery. It's quite a ride, and I think that more people should see it, and I think more people are going to see it, and I think that this one's going to have a nice life after just its initial release. So that is my review of 2019's Ready or Not. Check it out. What did you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments downstairs. Forward to me uploading this on your favorite podcasting sites like iTunes and Spotify and all that. Leave us decorative, you know, weapons and pentagrams and all that. I'll take whatever sacrifices need to be made to the Dark Lord. I'll do it just to get the word out that we're reviewing films on this channel. So go ahead and do that. What is your favorite childhood board game, and what would you have liked to see them turn like the most dangerous game into? You know, they did hide and seek in this, but would you like to see a killer, you know, murderous version of Chutes and Ladders or Candyland or something? Leave in the comments down below. We'll see you next time.